Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I would like to add a video to the Need to Know Information About Reality playlist, and that is How Hitler Came to Power, a Warning to America. This was published on November 1st, 2016, by Reich Wing, hyphenated. Watch. And I find this to be very interesting. It documents what Keith Olbermann covered in his video comparing the ascendancy of Donald Trump to the ascendancy of Adolf Hitler. Completely with video clips and all that good stuff. A little more well referenced. And, it's not just Keith Olbermann talking, it's an historian, I believe, being interviewed by this channel. And like I said, they've actually documented with video clips and magazine political ads and stuff like that. Anyways. Let me see if I can remember what the hell I wanted to talk about tonight, because it's pretty important. See, my YouTube channel has undergone some... The hell is that hair doing out there? My YouTube channel has undergone some targeted demonetization, it seems. The views, suddenly after I noticed that people who are making videos about me getting more views than I do, and then not only does my YouTube Studio app stop responding a lot now, like half the time when I try to click like on a comment, it just glitches and goes away. But it seems as though the views where they weren't showing up in the real-time thing, like they would have like a little graph showing like each hour, and that wasn't showing up since about, I don't know, when did I say, like a month before the election or something like that. That's started to show up again, but it's not like the views are behind where the graph shows like it used to be back when it worked, back when I actually seemed to be getting proper views, back before certain gatekeepers but speaking of gatekeepers, due to my questioning what seems to be very obvious connections to Donald Trump and 9/11, okay, and well, there's a fact of years of Russian promoted anti-government conspiracy saying that 9/11 was an inside job promoted by the Kremlin and RT, okay, specifically. And despite the fact that Donald Trump has a lot of different dealings with a lot of different shady shit, and, that would actually connect 9/11 back to the KGB as opposed to the CIA, YouTube seems to prefer that people think that it was the CIA that was behind 9/11. YouTube seems to think that it's, preferred that normal conspiracies, the status quo, isn't that weird that there's a status quo conspiracy? And that status quo conspiracy never, ever, 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 ever involves Russia or Donald Trump, who suspiciously was one of the few people to complete a building that could be used to house the same types of offices, diplomatic and otherwise, that the World Trade Center housed, and he completed it right before the World Trade Center collapsed. And he started it right when all of these things started to be set in motion. in 98 and 99. And now we have a Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, who's friends with Putin. And his relationship with Vladimir Putin goes back to the first time he met him, according to him, in 1999. Now, why 1999? Well, I think that should be obvious, because everybody was partying like it's 1999. And if you don't understand how simple advantages have been taken of us over and over and over again, you're probably one of these people that somehow thinks that Donald Trump's election is legitimate in any way. Like the idea that we're asking, oh, could this be questioning Donald Trump's legitimacy? What legitimacy? There is no fucking legitimacy. You don't lie your way into office and have legitimacy for starters. You don't especially lie about crucial issues that regard whether or not you're loyal to this country, whether or not you've met and had conversations with, or friends with, or have business dealings with Vladimir fucking Putin. Okay? But now, on top of all the other Russian connected, RT connected, Russian propaganda, fake news connected, basket of disposables, cabinet of deplorables pics, we got Rex Tillerson, CEO of the company that seemed to have its hooks into the Dick Cheney Bush enterprise. And I mean, you want to talk about draining the swamp? The insiderness level, the corruption level, the elitist level of this Donald Trump supposed cabinet makes the Bush family look like trailer park trash. Okay? Makes their whole fucking team look like a bunch of yokels. I mean, most of them are merely millionaires, you know? Scum. I mean, they live on the wrong side of the tracks compared to these fucking Trumpers, man. These are some really rich, connected, elite. I mean, just people who could not give a fuck about giving a fuck about giving a fuck about you. Okay? Oh, yeah. Good job draining the swamp. There's never been a more elitist, corporatist, proposed White House ever in this country. But you want to say there's legitimacy to be questioned by the fact that Russia has been interfering with our electoral process for decades, by the fact that Russia has specifically amped up in a new and unprecedented way its propaganda campaign in order to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. This is obvious to anyone who's been keeping track of this. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of just how far back this goes. And what I've been telling you is that it goes back generations, people. It's not a matter of whether or not this whole election is rigged by Russia, whether or not our entire perception of ourselves and the world is rigged by Russia. It's called the Empire of Media, and it is not one that you will find any other nation having a history of conquering, because it's never been conquered. But they are a nation without borders. They are a nation of elites, of bankers, of royals, of fascists. They've been known as Bolsheviks, as Khazarians, as false Ashkenaz. They go to Israel and call themselves the Khuzarim. They are not. They are Khazars, sons of Hathor. Okay? Chazor, Khazor, Khazar. And it's where you get the word Kazakh from. Ultimately, where it comes from. And this is a tradition that roots itself in an even older tradition regarding the true mother, but that's a bit deeper of a story than I care to go into right now. But let's just say that this ancient story of this Asiatic reincarnate princess, there's a certain mark that goes with her. That mark is on the Chinese flag of all places, and on several Freemason emblems, and on my wife's right arm. Cheers. You know, as if all the other coincidences weren't enough. She bears the mark. So, Tillerson, eh? Tiller. Son. Tiller of the fields. You know about them last names. Always gotta have some reference to the Bible when you're a Satanist. So, people still choosing party over patriotism, eh? Hail victory means Sieg Heil. But despite the thousands, probably millions of dollars AdSense has paid out to overtly fake news posing as real news. I mean, these people got their graphic studios behind them with their green screen, little introduction flashes, and their fancy news desks and everything. And they're just pumping out bullshit. I'm giving you my opinion. I'm telling you it's my opinion. I'm not presenting things. I'm telling you other people are bullshitting you. And I'm presenting my case for that. YouTube's gone through my channel just now. And demonetized. I got a bunch of yellow dollar signs. Because I've gone against the status quo conspiracy. And told what probably is the truth. And I think it needs to be thoroughly investigated before we hand over the reins to this obvious tyrant. Because not only can we prove he's a tyrant, not only can we prove he's unfit to serve, okay, the fact is we might have clear connections between not only him and the KGB, but in the KGB's concerted effort to destroy the United States and blame it on Islamic extremism by using Islamic extremism as patsy, basically. And see, Ted Cruz got patsy written all over him. Donald Trump, useful idiot, or complicit oligarch? I would say complicit oligarch. I mean, he's done some very calculated things. Like this thing with Boeing, with complaining about the, Air Force One deal. Right as Iran and Boeing were pinning a deal for 80, I believe it was 757s. Actually, I'm not sure what kind of plane, but it was like 80 planes. Millions and millions, probably maybe $1 billion or so dollars, you know? At least going to be in the hundreds of millions, right? If you're talking about 80 freaking Boeing aircraft, yeah. Big money here. And reportedly, like several, if not just over 100,000 jobs, I think it was, I heard, were at stake. Like this deal could ensure the security of. I don't want to go too far with what they were saying. So playing politics based on phobias of Iran and lack of understanding that Russia is actually the terrorist state. I mean, do you understand that Russia supports terrorism? Terrorism doesn't need Iran. Terrorism has Russia. Iran doesn't make AK-47s. Iran isn't giving Assad the AS-400. Iran wasn't supplying the Baathists. Iran wasn't supplying the Taliban. Fucking Russia was. These are the facts. But you see this fool wanting to focus on Iran and North Korea. And using it as another pivot point to attack China. China, the only hope for actually reining in this communist horde. Oh yeah, the nationalists in China, like I've been saying for the past couple of years, are the key to this. See, Korea, not connected financially and militarily with China. They're connected through a big border. It's actually quite hostile. Okay, it's kind of like the Mexican border. Actually, there's one-way migration usually. Well, admittedly, lately a lot of jobs have actually been going to Mexico from the United States, but which is why the whole wall thing's kind of gotten ridiculous. But they didn't want to talk about that part. And actually relate multiple facts at once to somebody so they have a comprehensive understanding of reality. That's just not a Republican thing. So I got this like ugly picture of the videos paused right in front of me. You got Hitler staring me in the face. Well, no, I can't pause that. I mean, I can't exit that. I'm not done watching it. So wait, I was North Korea, China, Iran. Yeah. So Iran and China, very much a similar political situation with Russian influence on one party and a nationalistic influence that we've been trying to nurture. But there's like, Russia has the ability to reach out to both sides of the political spectrum at once and confuse the shit out of everyone and get them at each other's throats. It's called divide and conquer. Nobody's ever been as good as they are at it. officially approaching 12:30 at night. I'm getting kind of tired. I just don't get how people are, that's fuck whatever I was talking about. I don't get why people on the Republican side, these talking point heads people, and whoever's supporting them, whoever's actually voting for these fuckers, have this cognitive dissonance where they want to focus on one thing at a time, on this one thing. Oh, but this one thing is true, so that proves my point. I don't have to pay attention to all this other stuff. Like, and usually, this one thing, you find out later, that's not even fucking true to begin with. Like, for instance, the idea that it's the CIA's fault that we went into Iraq. No, it's not the CIA's fault. While the Bush administration kind of subtly tried to blame the intelligence agencies that gave them the information, they never specified which intelligence agencies, nor which nation those intelligence agencies belong to. Funny. Right after we invaded Iraq, somebody invaded another country in a similar direction. Russia invaded Georgia. And Russia did seem awfully willing to help us with, railroad transportation of tanks and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, come on in. Get your feet stuck in the sand. Boy, did we fall for it. And then, okay, understand this about the whole Iranian support for Hezbollah and shit like that. These are political parties supporting each other, not the federal government of Iran, other than the people in those political parties that are, doing that thing. It's an improper dealing, but it doesn't allow you to blanketly say Iran supports them. It'd be like saying America supports Nazis because Donald Trump got elected. Okay? Which, guess what? Those same people who are promoting that cognitive dissidence in our right-wing media, they're saying that shit to their own people, that America is controlled by Nazis. They have been for years. And the people they've been telling it the most to are the people in small towns around military bases. The military families, that is. So, what happened in Ukraine was when these Russian grunts on vacation or whatever they were doing there came in, what they would yell at the Ukrainians is that the fascists in Kiev are working for the Nazis in America. Because, their case is laid out that Germany and America are working together, so they're both Nazis, right? Oh, yeah. Merkel and Obama. Big goose steppers there. Just amazed. I'm just amazed. We're going to pretend like the recounts proved anything in Donald Trump's favor. What they actually proved was that there were some counties just unwilling to even count Jill Stein's vote. Like there were actually places, rural voting, a couple of them, that had no ballots for Jill Stein. They did a real recount and they found like 20 ballots for Jill Stein. This is all fucked, man. It's all fucked. And the fact of the matter is, they didn't do the investigative recount, which was in order for alleged hacking. Okay, they were hoping to find further evidence of hacking, but what they found was just a bunch of little crooked, different little bullshits here and there, and that disabled any investigation into hacking. You understand? Because if they're sitting there saying, "Oh, we forgot these ballots here, we forgot these ballots here," and it's just like all this other shit to distract people from, you know, there was an event that we could have caught if we were trying to be aware of it, and we missed it. We missed it. And you got this hacking that obviously went on that can't be detected because there's no fucking paper ballots. There's no recount ability to speak of. Okay? There just isn't. I mean, they're just fucking lying to you. There's a couple of places where they can recount the fucking ballots, and then there's most of these places where they can't. And then there's these absentee ballots and shit like that. And then they've ended the recount before they counted the absentee ballots in the big cities. Oh, no wonder Trump picked up some fucking votes. Yeah, that just happened. In Wisconsin. Yep. Didn't finish counting 25,000 absentee ballots in Milwaukee. Because, it's not like big cities vote Democrat. But, regardless. If you're not sitting there trying to verify the identities of these voters the way Republicans kind of say that you should in certain states, if we can't come together as Americans and put down partisanship, say the way Hillary Clinton was willing to, the way we all know damn good and well Hillary Clinton would be doing if she were, acknowledged as having won the presidency, which according to the Constitution she did, because, considering that her opponent is not qualified according to the Constitution and cannot take office according to the Constitution, she won. The purpose of the Electoral College is to prevent someone like Donald Trump from taking office. Otherwise, to ratify the popular vote. It's not about states' rights. It's about preventing tyranny. They have more than one job description, yes. And they cannot do one thing, so they must do another, according to the Constitution. So, with that, with the emoluments, with the Russian hacking of the election, with the Russian fake news influence on our debate process, what legitimacy would like recounts, or what legitimacy would, specifying that Russia wanted Donald Trump? Like what integrity was there in this process? None. What legitimacy does Donald Trump have? None. We need to go back and have investigative examination of the machines used in the Republican primaries, okay? Because I'm sorry, the only thing worse than an entitled minority is an entitled celebrity in the eyes of conservatives, okay? They did not. No, they didn't. I don't care how much speech coverage, I don't care how much he got rammed down people's throats. People didn't just pawn in like fucking sheep, like just file in like cattle. Oh, Trump, oh, Master Trump. No, they were fucking shelling out money. They were hacking the fucking machines. They were having an all of the above bullshit and cheat strategy. We really only have two choices to save America at this point. New election. Whole new election. Primaries on. Or Hillary Clinton with Bernie in the cabinet. And I would actually, if I were Hillary Clinton, probably still appoint Mitt Romney as Secretary of State. I wouldn't put it past her to do so either. Hillary Clinton, I guarantee you, would appoint Republicans to the cabinet. Probably more so than Obama did. But they would be a lot cleaner, less wealthy, less connected, less corrupt Republicans than the Trump has picked. But that's your option. I mean, we got somebody who won by over 2.5 million votes, who is not a national security threat, who can bring the country together if we get past the fake news thing. Okay, I mean, let's act like adults here, please. Not have cognitive dissonance in every single fucking discussion we have about this. Oh my god, we are still doing this. As a nation, we're still doing this. Cognitive dissonance about every single topic that comes up. The grown-ups aren't allowed to speak. The grown-ups like John McCain, Lindsey Graham. You only get to hear that they had a part in this, hacking investigation 48 hours into the breaking news discussion. It's like as many people as possible talked about it without talking about them. But they were never, their involvement was never secret. They've been at the forefront of this because they don't trust Donald Trump. And it's not about like the politics of it. It really isn't. It's not about immigration. It's not about taxes and all this stuff. It's about the fact that he's intentionally trying to destroy America. And people who know the tactics of this situation, like what he's doing, why it's harmful, and how historically KGB-esque this is. Anybody who knows these facts is really fucking terrified right now that all these morons are on TV with their cognitive dissonance and false equivalency, controlling the conversation and leading America into utter cluelessness about the reality of what's going on here. You have a situation in which the Obama administration was afraid to come out before the election and state facts because the cognitive dissonance has become such a plague on this country that they were afraid of, what they were being made to be afraid of. They had a bunch of fucking rednecks sitting there saying it's pitchforks and torches time and shit like that. Sheriffs. Crazy fuckers. With guns. Lots of them. And you want to question and wonder why they did the things that they did? Because of media. Because of this army of demonic deceivers who have all of our eyes had all of your eyes crusted in bullshit. Just caked on there like fudge topping. Yeah. Very sad. Alright. I guess I've squeezed everything out of my head that I want to tell you about. And with that, I'm going to call it a video. Video. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Try to do something. If you can't think of anything, just pray. I think people, are just forgetting about prayer. That's very sad. I don't think there's been an election in which God has been mentioned less.